let us discuss the findings of Indus Valley civilization. The Britishers in the leadership of John Marshall excavated the sites at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro from a period of 1924 to 1931. They found that there was a civilization in India which was trading through sea routes, was advanced and expert of mathematics and geometry, and had a developed knowledge of sewage system. They dated back this civilization to 3300 BC. And they found that Aryan invaders from Central Asia came around 1500 BC and destroyed this civilization and forced the natives of this civilization to accept a Vedic religion. Actually, this Indus Valley civilization should have been rejected outrightly at that time as an Aryan Invasion theory because of several drawbacks it has. First of the drawback is that the Aryans had a very developed geometrical and mathematical knowledge. They have at a number of points written the positions of constellations and stars in Rig Veda and other Vedas. And the position of those stars and constellations tell us that Rig Veda was written around 13700 BC. So how come that Aryan invader could have come on 1500 BC and written Rig Veda in 1200 BC as has been postulated by the Max Muller? So this totally contradicts the theory. Second of the drawback is that Saraswati River, discovered by the satellite pictures taken by NASA, that it was a river flowing in India around 1900 BC. But Saraswati River has been mentioned in Rig Veda and other Vedas at a number of points. So how come that's possible that a river which was flowing 400 years before the Aryan invasion, before Aryan coming to India and has disappeared at that time, has found a mention in Rig Veda? So this is totally baseless. One more drawback is that the finding of Om seal in Indus Valley civilization excavations. The Om seal is just the same which finds mention in Rig Veda chapter 4, Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 and Katha Upanishad. In Rig Veda it is written, your abode is the Ashwat tree and your dwelling is made of its leaves. Further, we find Vedic yogic positions in Indus Valley civilization excavations, and also we find some certain seals which represent swastik symbols on them. Swastik symbols quite clearly relate to the Rig Vedas and Vedic scriptures. So there is no doubt that the two civilizations were same. There is one more point that Britishers say, that our ancestors from Europe came to India and developed a language, Sanskrit here, and wrote the scriptures, Hindu scriptures like Rig Veda, because they wanted to prove that Rig Veda like scripture cannot be written by these poor Indians. So they wanted to prove that Rig Veda has been written by our ancestors who came from Europe, invaded India in 1500 BC and were the Aryans. But one point that doesn't make people to digest this theory is that Sanskrit is a very advanced language compared to Latin and Greek. If we see that there is a word, in Sanskrit there is a word dev, which transforms to dew in Latin and theo in Greek, and becomes dew in French. Similarly, there is word Agni in Sanskrit which becomes ignite in English. There is one word Taru in Sanskrit which becomes tree in English. So there are numerous such words which shows they were original Sanskrit words and were later distorted in going to Greek and then to Latin and to English and French. So how come that possible that lesser advanced people are developing a more advanced language? So there was nothing like Aryan Invasion. The Sanskrit was developed by the inhabitants of India, and these language Sanskrit affected the European languages and the languages world over. One more point, the historians that support Indus Valley Civilization and Aryan Invasion theory raise this thing that there are mentions of horse in Rig Veda and other Vedas, but there was no finding in the excavation of Indus Valley Civilization about horse. The horse was not found on the seals found in Indus Valley Civilization. The simple answer to that has been given by Aurobindo in his study of Rig Veda. He writes that there is a hymn that is 1.92.14. The translation says that dawn brings cow and horses. How the dawn can bring cow and horses? The actual meaning for go and ashwa words in Sanskrit should be light and energy. So it should be dawn brings light and energy. It should not be dawn brings cow and horses. So such kind of misinterpretations of the word ashwa has led to think these people that there is mention of ashwa in Rig Veda at a numerous point, whereas ashwa word refers to something which is energetic, which is something related to the energy. So this also related with the misinterpretation of Rig Veda and bad translation of Rig Veda by Max Muller. The reference of words ashwa and go in Vedas that you can find in the reference I am giving here. Other excavations in Sinoli and Rakhigarhi has totally busted this Indus Valley Civilization Aryan Invasion theory. There were findings of horses and chariots in Sinoli, which is a place near Bagpat, and was also the place, one of the 5 villages that Pandavas had requested to get from Kauravas in Mahabharata. So, finding of chariots in Sinoli shows that the civilization was aware of the horses around the time of Mahabharata. The timing of Mahabharata is again a question of debate. There are the positions of stars and constellations in Mahabharata, which shows that Mahabharata happened around in 3102 BC. Further in Rakhigarhi, there was few skeletons were found, and skeleton does not possess Central Asian tribe gene R1A1. The missing of that gene shows that natives in India were not having that gene at that time. The historians who support Indus Valley Civilization and Aryan Invasion theory also raise one point that Indians who are living in North India and South India are different in color. Their skin colors are different. South Indians are black with skin color, whereas North Indians are fairer. But this is also not true. You can find numerous North Indians who are black in color, and whereas there are many South Indians who have fairer colors. So this does not seem to be true. Further, there is one genetic scientist, Lucy Sforza, who studied this genetic heritage of Indians and has written in his book that the Indian populations derive largely from the same genetic heritage and have received negligible gene flow from external reasons. His opinion makes total difference and proves it beyond any doubt that this theory is bogus, and the historians of Indian history have written it for different purposes that I have explained earlier. One will ask me why Aryan Invasion theory is to be discussed now, why to be talked about. So the reason behind this is simply to draw a parallel from a South African country, Rwanda. Very few of you people know about what happened in 1994 in Rwanda. Rwanda had a population of about 85% of a tribe Hutu, and about 14% are Tutsis, and 1% is the Twa tribe, which are also known as Pygmies. Before 1959, Tutsis were very close to power in Rwanda, but were overthrown in 1959 and were forced in large number to flee from Rwanda. They formed an army outside Rwanda, which was named as Rwanda Patriotic Front, and they returned back to Rwanda in 1990. There was battle from 1990 to 93 when a peace agreement was formed. Actually, what happened in 1994 needs to be discussed here. On 6th April 1994, Rwanda President and President of Burundi were traveling in a plane that crashed, and Rwanda President Juvenal Habyarimana was killed in that plane crash. The total blame was done on Rwanda Patriotic Front of Tutsis, and Tutsis were after that were killed in large number, and this genocide led to the killing of about million Tutsis in next 100 days. When this all happened just because before 1959 the European colonists wrote history of Rwanda, in which they taught them that Tutsis were outsiders. They came from outside and they attacked Hutu majority Rwanda and made them their subject, made them their slaves. So this was taught for about 20-30 years by European colonists in Rwanda in history textbooks. And the results were that there was mass genocide in 1994 for 100 days, in which million Tutsis were killed. Now the population of Tutsis, the percentage has reduced from 14% to 10%. This massacre got stopped on 4th of July 1994 when RPF entered the capital of Rwanda, Kigali, and captured. And now the president himself belongs to a Tutsi family. But there is no justice for the Tutsis till date. So this Aryan Invasion theory was just a parallel theory, was taught to us from hundreds of years by Britishers. This divided us on religion line on regional lines. North and South divide was created out of this theory. These all discussions show and prove that there was nothing like Aryan invasion. The Sanskrit was developed by the people here itself, and the Sanskrit was propagated from here only. And Vedas were written near the bank of river Saraswati. And horses and geometry, geography, these all were the characteristics of Vedic people residing at that time. And there is nothing like Aryan invasion. Aryan is anyone who is a noble person. So this kind of theory should be stopped immediately to be taught to us, which creates a divide between us, which creates a divide between North and South Indians, and we should stop teaching this absurd theory. With these words, I will like to stop here. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and write comments on my YouTube channel. Thank you.